what we have here is a Troy-bilt pressure washer with a Briggs Stratton 4 horsepower motor. I think it might be 4.5, but either way, it's been giving me fits. These models come with these plastic carburetors that are really junk. They're really junk. They get all kinds of crud in them, and I had the thing for about a year and put fuel stabilizer in, stable, and tried starting it, wouldn't start, so I had to go through a whole tearing apart, cleaning, did the whole thing, got it to work. The second year I had it, same thing happened, except this time it wouldn't start at all. So I ordered on eBay a brand new carburetor. Here it is, and has the small little red primer bulb there, and it should work. But I'm going to continue to have problems with it. I think these kinds of carburetors are just notorious for it. So I've got the new carburetor, and I have a gasket set in there as well, so I'm going to be installing that on here, and we'll try to document it and see how it goes. Here's the air filter. Not too bad. Needs to be blown out and re-oiled, but other than that, it should be alright. And we got good spark. That's never been an issue, but here's the real issue. This is the problem. Is this this tube where the air and fuel mixture enters into the intake? This plastic tube cracked, so I wound up epoxying this thing together. But that's another really weak design. These things are just, they're all plastic now. And when you buy a base model pressure washer, it's really tough to buy a good motor on it that doesn't have junk. If I would have done it over again, I probably would make sure it has a Honda engine. But it works, and it works well when it works. So be that as it may. Here we go with this putting the pieces together. Okay, now the first step we're going to do is move this screw and get this carburetor out of here. This is the old one. Tough to do with one hand. I gotta get a tripod. And we'll slowly pick this up here. And we see we've got our filter, spring, assembly. An opportunity to clean things up. New gaskets I have, so I'll take off these old parts, rubber boot fitting, attach it on the new one, and start the install on the gas tank. Okay, I don't want to tip this over, but I've put might be tough to see, there's a new spring in there that came with the kit. The new screen is attached, and new gasket. So this is going to go right on top of the gas tank. Other gasket on for the air box. Gasket. Get on there. Okay, now what I'm doing, I just hooked up the linkage to the fan, I should call it that. Not really good with the technical names of all these parts, but the linkage to the governor and to the fan that regulates the amount of airflow to the plastic part. So I'm going to tighten that down now. And then we'll be putting the spring that goes to the throttle selection. The spring, and I'll hook into this and get to that in a second. Alright, I think I'm going to have a problem with the spring. It seems to work, but the issue that I believe I'm going to have is that when I was removing it, it got stretched out, so it's kind of got a lot of slack in it. But when it's at full throttle, the amount of air coming off should keep that closed, but we'll just have to see how it works. Okay, we got our air box all reassembled. It's ready to go on, and a few more bits and pieces and miscellaneous parts we're going to be putting on now. Wish I had a tripod to do all this. I should have this buttoned up real soon. Alright, so we've got the recoil on now, and we're just going to go ahead and tighten up some of these parts here, these screws, and get these nice and bolted up all the way around, and then we'll put the shroud on top. Here's an important tip when putting the recoil unit back on top of the flywheel, and that is the spark plug wire has to come out this little hole here. If not, you could pinch it. You don't want to do that, obviously. It's an insulated wire, which would degrade the spark or cut the spark. So just heads up on that. The last thing to do now is just to get that shroud cover on. It covers the flywheel. Got our air box on, and we'll ratchet this sucker down and be ready to take it outside and test it and see if it works. See if I didn't screw something up. I don't know. I'll tell you what. This has really been a frustrating thing. Some of these people love these plastic carburetors, but they've been nothing but trouble for me. So hopefully this will work and I won't run into any more trouble. Let's see. Oh. That's a good sign. That's a good sign, seeing that I never would run before.